Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. I guess our first real one now that it's like not the intro one, like it's our first really go to. Let's not get to know Croncy, even though we all know Croncy podcast. Um, and there's a lot of things going on. So 320 still in the first wave of the PT or first waves, I guess, of the PTU. They haven't upped it from wave 1 and 2. Big tournament happened yesterday or the last 2 weekends, but finished up yesterday with Atmo Esports. And there's another game out there right now. So probably going to talk a little bit about that as well. Croncy, how you doing?
I am surprised I am as awake as I am. I think it was like 26 hours of being awake doing the tournament for me today, essentially.
Yeah.
It went for like 11 hours. It was rough.
I thought it was going to go shorter, given because there were less people. So when me and Croncy discussed when he was going to come on the show, we were like, all right, we had decided it the week before last week that like we had discussed it, and he was like, yeah, I'm game. But Atmo Esports tournament last week, 2 weeks ago or whatever, and he was like, I can't be there for that because it's going to be a really long day. And so turns out this one was really long as well. Yeah. So I guess we could jump right into that. I mean, you want to share your thoughts on it and how it went? I watched a lot of it. I lurked the whole time, and a lot of it I had sound off because I was on the couch with my wife and we were watching TV, and I had it on my phone, and I'm like, every time the fights go, I was like watching it, and I actually got confused because I thought it was each team was left right on the top and left right on the bottom. And like somebody won the first fight, somebody won, and I thought they lost, and I was like, what's going on? And so it was top bottom on the right was one team, top bottom on the left was the other. So I got confused at first. But yeah, let us know how it went and all that.
So Fight or Flight is a dogfighting PvP tournament that Atmo Esports host. This is the second year of them hosting like a full big proper anyone can come in style event. Mike has been in one in the past for like a creator clash type deal that we've run a couple of times. And this was definitely the biggest one that we've done so far, and certainly the longest, because the top 4 teams get to go to CitizenCon, and we get to do a fun thing at CitizenCon. So,
do we know what the fun thing is yet, or are we not saying it?
No, yeah, we do. So, so the top 4 teams for the entire Fight or Flight, which we did 2 weeks, about 22 hours total of fighting and whatnot. They get to team up with content creators at CitizenCon to do like their own little tournament that we'll be hosting at CitizenCon.
Yeah.
I don't know what the format is at the moment, but yeah, that's essentially the idea. It was really good. It was really, really awesome. It was certainly interesting doing something that was a bit more PvP focused rather than racing, because that's where a lot of my Star Citizen like competitiveness comes from mostly. But yeah, an absolute hell of a day. And Shadow Moses, they ended up winning the day. I am a little bit disappointed in Shadow Moses that they made us go the full 5 rounds for the best of 5 for the last match. We were all like
0-2.
Yeah, they were 0-2 for the best of 5, and we're all in like the private chat going like, "Oh, please, Electric Blanket win. We just want to go to sleep. We're done, please." But they managed to reverse sweep it. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's
but a
wild.
great day for sure.
I was gonna say that I took part in a tournament, obviously very similar, and I think this one was a little bit more I want to say not thought out, but I guess that's all I can think of right now, was where our tournament was thought out that we did, but there was lots of like weird builds. These were all like proper PvP builds, like the meta ships in the game right now with, meta builds on them and stuff. And so it really got to show like the best of the best, and every fight was just high end PvP content. It was really fun for me to watch, and we were talking about it in our Discord while the fights were going on and who was winning, and there was obviously some discussion of like esports in this game. Look at how long it takes for everything to set up, and I was like, well, we got Arena Commander coming up, you know, and the fact that they're putting in these locations in Arena Commander makes things a lot different. And I mean, how fast do you think this tournament goes next patch? You know what I mean?
So yeah, so when we get the private lobbies in the spectator mode, which hopefully shouldn't be too far on, likely a 320X at this stage. This sort of stuff would be crazy because we did 35 fights total. And we streamed all of them just today, just for the finals. But you got to remember that means in every single one of those fights, they have to respawn, get out fresh ships, have those ships scanned to make sure that they've got the correct loadouts. They have to do invisibility checks with each other because, yay, that's a bug that we love working around. And then they can go. And so that'll take like 15 to 20 minutes per fight, essentially. Now, we did have the advantage, obviously, at the start of the finals where we can get multiple fights set up in a row. So we were actually able to kind of spam through a couple of them pretty quickly. But when you get to the finals, and it's like, all right, we just need to wait on this one team over and over again, because of course we do, then it gets really rough. Now, imagine that all they have to do is press X to respawn.
Yep.
Yeah, much, much faster.
It's going to be great. I mean, our tournament a couple of years ago with me and Noodle, I mean, I remember we rolled through without dying once, and then we got to the finals. And they asked, and it was such a long tournament that they asked us, like, they were tired too, you could tell, and they were like, do you want to do best of 3, or do you want to just like winner take all? And me and Noodle were just like, we won already. We don't like the fact that we got this far. We don't care. Best of 1. Who gives a shit? And we just went. We lost, and we were like, it was like super hyped, whatever. And like I felt like I won anyway. It didn't matter. And the that like at the end, it's just you're dead. I had nothing left. I gave every ounce of energy I had into that period. But yeah, it was just there was no way. It's such a long day. So the Arena Commander thing is gonna make it way better. And then on top of that is private lobbies, so you don't deal with any you don't need security or anything like that. And be sick. I don't know. Like,
I will say,
go ahead.
I will say it'd be funny if we didn't really have any instances of people coming in to fight the event or anything over the course of the 2 weeks, but if we had, it would have been very funny because like you're trying to
fight the best fighters.
Exactly. Like you're trying to ruin the event. And it's like, oh, we just have the best PvPers here. We'll just get them to fend them off. We don't really need that much security.
Yeah, I wonder why nobody fought at this one. Because it wouldn't have worked out very well for you. Probably, right? I mean, maybe we could talk a little bit about the viability of esports in Star Citizen. I mean, I think a lot of the discussion we started getting into in our Discord was like, what other events can they run, and things like that. And we were talking about mining events, and we're talking about all sorts of fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think it's super viable, and especially with these Arena Commander changes. I want to see DJ make a mining mode.
A competitive mining mode.
Yeah.
It's like the farming sim esports stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like, oh my god, he's got 7 SCU of Quantanium.
He's got to get back to the station.
I think obviously the biggest thing in Star Citizen in terms of it's all about where you can be competitive. So that's why dogfighting the dogfighting tournaments have been as popular as they have.
Yeah.
The racing community is incredibly competitive, but it's very small in Star Citizen. So everyone in the racing community comes to all the events and whatnot, but it doesn't have as much appeal to like your regular player.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. I don't know if that'll have the same sort of impact as dogfighting might have.
Maybe one day.
The one that I'm sorry.
I said maybe one day racing. Like, I think a
Yeah.
big part of the problem with racing is the way it's been had to have been set up. Is like, all
Mm.
right, it started with the Daymar Rally and has gone, and it's like these locations in the PU. It's another situation of the moment anything that you weren't expecting happens, like a lot of things start falling apart. Servers, things like that, and I mean what they're doing with racing in Arena Commander and in just general, there's just a lot more opportunity now, I think,
Yeah.
for they're supporting it via the game, which is something you don't get in any other aspects of competitive things right now with Star Citizen. So, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the racing modes you have multiple people, right? I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah, since 320, yeah. So
Yeah.
we can now, and like some of the big racing orgs are already starting to organize some pretty intense races
Mm-hmm.
that you can now actually do properly on Arena Commander. And because we have that, anytime you get like a thing that Crucian loves to say, Crucian from Atmo Esports and another commentator, he loves to say that Star Citizen doesn't have competitive integrity. It will one day. And when it
Yeah.
has that, that's when the competitive side of video games starts popping off.
Yeah.
Arena Commander does have quite a lot of competitive integrity, and that's the big bonus there. So you can now do a bunch of races with other people, and it work. And like you don't have to deal with invisibility bugs. You don't have to deal with as many things as you do in the PU, which has been our only option for running these events
Yep.
forever. So.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And I just think I'm looking forward to the future of that stuff because I think it'll always be difficult with maybe like FPS or even dogfighting PvP for now until we see them improve like networking and things like that. But certainly, I know racing is an issue with that, with like ramming into each other and stuff, but
Yeah.
it still seems like the most viable for the moment. But I'm looking for the day that we have like 5v5s. Like you have to take one light, one media, like one capital, one, there's like
Yeah.
certain classes that everybody has taken. Then you're banning ships and banning weapons and like all sorts of like League of Legends, Dota, that kind of meta stuff would be super sick.
Yeah, my dream is the like Fleet v Fleet
Yeah.
esport stuff, which will happen regardless. Like it may be one of those types of events that just happens like once a year as a kind of like a fun thing, but there's no way it's not going to happen. And I think a good sort of thing to look at, because you look at other games, you look at other esports with EVE Online and their Alliance tournament. They have this really good structure that I'd love to bring to Star Citizen, where they go, all right, you have X amount of points that you can spend on like players and ships.
Yep.
Right. And the more powerful ships have more points and stuff like that. So you can do a lot of balance. You can do a lot of personal balancing. It's like you don't have to wait on CIG to fix a ship. You can just be like, well, that's really OP, so we'll just give that a bunch of points.
Yeah.
That's my dream. I really hope we get that eventually, but we need a lot of stuff for that to be a thing. That is end game esports for Starcit.
For sure, for sure. I just think now that we have Arena Commander in a place that is like it exists again, I'm very excited to see, because it's a dedicated Arena Commander team. They're not
Yeah.
like a lot of teams are like, okay, it's a dedicated environment team. It's a dedicated US gameplay team. It's the mission team, right? Like, but they all need each other. And like, yes, Arena Commander needs everybody in order for their stuff to work. Like, I mean, just go play Gun Rush or whatever, right? And there's so many problems with the guns that are in the game and just general issues with the actor or whatever, right? So obviously there's going to be things that need to improve to help the game be more fun. But from a developing game modes standpoint, they got nothing else to do. I mean, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
That's their job essentially, right? From this point forward, is to maintain what they have and build out new modes and make it more fun. So the moment we find something that people really dive into and get competitive with, and leaderboards and all that stuff, dude, forget about it. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, I fully expect, or at least it looks like CIG have adopted the 2v2 fighter like PvP format a
Yeah.
lot with the experimental modes. Like we've got the Two Fury, Two Furious, or whatever. Essentially, is that at the moment. Um, and CIG have been really very cool in the way that they have like been with these events, because this is an extremely unique situation. There is no game where you're playing any sort of competitive tournament with this many bugs and requiring this much setup at the moment, right? And so CIG have been unbelievably supportive of it. And I mean, like the whole fact that we're doing this tournament at CitizenCon itself is kind of insane.
Yeah, that's
But
wild.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be pretty crazy. I want to know what the format is, because I always thought that this
Me
thing,
too.
yeah, because I always thought it was super weird that this like the team that wins, their teammates, and then it sounds like they're getting split up.
Yes.
Okay, that's so weird to me, because they go through all these rounds to get there, and then they get split up, and I was like, oh damn. Like just thinking about back to my experience, it was like I get split up with Noodle. Well, I lose every match, but I also was like a big part of that was like the bond that we made during that tournament. Which yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't talked to Noodle in a little while, and now that bothers me. I gotta now I'm like, damn, I gotta message Noodle.
No,
Thinking back
no,
to
it's
those
sad
days.
podcast time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's. I don't think it really feels like that, just because the actual end of the actual end of Fight or Flight was today, right?
Yeah.
Like we had the finals, the prizes are done and whatnot. This is just something extra.
Okay,
That's
so
sort of
they
tagged
won.
onto the end. Yeah, they won.
And
They've done. They've
part
got
of what they
prizes,
won
all that
is
stuff.
they're going to CitizenCon. They're gonna
Yeah,
play a fun little tournament, an
yeah,
additional fun
exactly.
tournament. Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
that I didn't register for whatever reason. So I was like, okay, they won the seat into the real tournament, but I guess they already won the real tournament, and now
yeah.
it's the All-Star game.
Yes, it's
Okay,
more like an invitational type deal
yeah,
thing. But yeah,
pros
I'm really
with
curious what the format's
Joes.
going to be. Yeah. I'm really curious what the format's going to be. Christian hasn't told me anything yet, but he said that there's going to be something spicy.
Okay,
And so because I haven't been spoiled, I reckon it's going to be a new ship. I reckon we'll be competing with a new ship or something.
that would make sense. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
sitcom. They want to sell stuff. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if that was the case. But yeah, have you had this is going to be a tough one to talk about. Have you had a lot of time in the last couple days with 320? I know you've posted a video.
Yeah, I did a little thing about all the mining updates.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played 320 since Starfield came out, but to
Yeah.
be fair, I played Starfield for a day and then slept and then did app mode today, and then I won't be able to play Starfield again until Tuesday. So haven't had a chance the last couple of days. But I put in a bunch of hours after they fixed the gun rush sound bug. Which I was very, very happy for that to be
And
gone.
when they fixed that, they changed all the guns.
Yeah, into a better sort of order, I reckon. Just because it makes it a lot easier for you to get a couple of kills early game, especially if you join the game late, right? And you end up with those guns. Yeah, much better form, I reckon. And this is one of the things I was talking about with experimental modes in general, that like things are going to change a lot and very quickly. And I know we're still just in PTU. Yeah, and that's okay. And yeah, we are only in PTU, but it's still, if that you have a problem with something in an experimental mode, don't expect it to stay there for any longer than like a week or a month.
Yeah, for sure. And I know there's like a bunch of other fixes that are getting done too. And I'm again, I also have not jumped into Star Citizen since Starfield has come out, but I am incredibly disappointed with how they've handled the PTU waves. I think the way they came out and spoke about it was like, okay, the big thing for me was, yes, we're removing people who are not playing and adding more people in who are. So overall win. But the idea of them speaking out about like, hey, we're going to push through these waves quite quickly. They kind of set that expectation. We had an entire week where we only got one patch, 2 hot fixes, I think. An early hot fix in the week and a late hot fix, and then an actual patch where we could see notes and things, but no wave changes. And that's got to feel really kind of not great for some of the backers that were on the cusp. And yeah, so like I don't know. What do you think about all this?
So in general, so it's the whole new PTU system, which will probably end up getting modified for next patch anyway. Like in one form or another. I don't have really any problems with it, except I would love if they were a little bit transparent about like what the criteria for being let into the PTU is.
Yeah, like you should know.
Yeah. You should know if you've played enough time or at least have a pretty good idea. Like, because we're at a stage where people are saying, oh, I played like 4 hours a day for the whole patch and I wasn't in. And it's like, you should have a pretty good idea that you're probably getting in. Right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that. But other than that, I've been okay with it. I do think the fact that we've only had the 2 waves in PTU for a week and 2 days now, probably just says more about the fact that this patch will be in PTU probably until the end of the month, right? It's just saying it's going to be a while.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It just I'm bummed. I know it's going to be a bit, but I feel like if they went through this process, like I'm starting to see the game modes that I'm enjoying in Arena Commander not have as many players in them, and it's like, okay, well, what are we doing then? Don't we want to open this up to more waves and see more people and things like that? So I don't know. It's been one of these things where it's been frustrating to see the process, but I still also want to just let the whole thing happen and see how it ends up finishing. But yeah, I think you probably make the best point there that it's going to be a while. But at the same time, it hasn't been incredibly unstable for me. I've had 30Ks.
It gets the point when it gets unstable is when everyone's at the PTU, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean that'll be the issue there. One thing I do want to mention with the whole situation that everyone has gone over a lot because it was like 2 weeks ago now, but anyone who says that CIG did this for greed. CRG do a bunch of things for greed. This would be the least effective of all of them if that was the case.
They didn't. They made a specific decision to not lose money. So to keep subs in Wave 1 was a choice that they didn't have to make, but they did. Because if they didn't make it, the amount of people that would unsub, because the value of a sub is probably not. I think the most valuable thing in the sub is getting Wave 1.
Yeah, definitely. There hasn't been like many good like sub materials for a sub gear for a while.
Yeah, I mean there's like some every once in a while, but it's not consistently like cool shit. So the real valuable thing is Wave 1 access. And I feel like if they remove that, everybody would unsub. And I don't know if it's like, this monumental amount of money. None of us really, well, I guess you can look at their financial reports and see what it is. But the amount of money is probably not insignificant. Therefore, that's why I think they left it there.
I can't, I'd love to go through the reports and see it. I just can't imagine that they've made any more, like literally just like through subscribers, they've made any more than like 10 grand. And in a situation like this, like from as in like people signing up for specifically this PTU.
Oh, like, this PTU. Whoa.
Yeah, the amount of people that would have dropped off from PTU and then subbed so they could get in, I can't imagine is too many. Like, how many people are both above $1,000 and not subscribers and don't play the game enough to get into the PTU? I feel like it can't be that many people.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm also, this is pure conjecture for me. So
to specifically sub for this specific PTU is hard to say. But you want to guess how much money they had in subscriptions in 2021?
For the whole year?
Yeah.
It's $2 million.
$5 million.
Jesus.
So, split that up. That's 500,000-ish a month, 500K and change a month.
Yeah, that's a ship sale.
Yeah. So they lose a whole ship sale or maybe a little bit less a month.
All right, yeah, that's pretty relevant. Yeah.
I don't know. Right. I just don't know. I think I agree with you though, is like how many people actually subbed for 320 would be an interesting thing to find out, but it's impossible to quantify. But but they make a lot of money off of subs, and I think they know. They must have the metrics of like PTU wave comes out, sub numbers go up, and there's no way they're gonna drop it, and it sucks. But because I think if you drop the sub from wave 1, none of this looks bad. None of this looks nearly as bad,
right?
Yeah.
Everyone's complaint was about that, and then everyone who like doesn't know Star Citizen, the complaint looked worse because they didn't know that it was a thing for the last like 5 years, whatever.
Yeah, and they applied the 25,000 number, and like, oh my god, it's 25,000 to play the PTU. Like my titles, the first 2 days of the wave were like, you're too poor to play this, or how does it feel? How does it feel to not have $25,000 to spend on a video game? Things like that. Meanwhile,
get these peasants out of my PTU.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm just, in Evo Cadi, so I'm in. Like it didn't matter anyway. But yeah, that is it's an interesting one. It's one I want to see play out, but the way it's playing out right now is, yeah.
Do you think they could, like, let's say 321 comes out or 320X, whatever. Do you think they could remove the subscriber access and there would be less fallback? Because that's the other thing, is the amount of people that are like, I don't have time to play. But like there would be a significant amount of people, I think, that would also be mad about getting removal from that.
As a sub?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the only reason they subbed.
Yeah.
So they'll just cancel. But just cancel. I don't know. Like, there's no winning. They're never going to win in this situation. They're always going to look stupid because they put themselves in this boat a long time ago, right? But I think if they came out and just said, hey, the most active players are getting in wave 1. The second most active players are getting in wave 2. The third most active players are getting in wave 3, and so on. Then that's the only win they could have had, and they missed that mark, so now it's impossible. So no matter what they do from this point forward, they're just going to look dumber and dumber and dumber, and there's no winning.
Yeah, they've sort of backed themselves into a corner that's you can't really get out of without having more people mad at you.
Exactly. Like, you're just going to piss somebody off, but, I mean, my opinion is if you're only subbing for the waves, that's not great either. It's a bad look for CIG. It's not a good reason to be subbing. And something needs to be addressed there. But
yeah,
I don't know. Kind of is what it is how I look at it, but I don't know.
I mean, I personally, if I didn't have the streamer privilege, I haven't been a sub for almost a year.
Wait, is there streamer privilege?
Yeah, there's streamer privilege. We're very privileged, Mike. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not Evo Cadi like you, so I just get access to PTU because I'm a cool dude. No one else does, just me. No, yeah, they give streamer privilege for like wave 1 and stuff, which makes a lot of sense. It's just extra marketing. But like, yeah, I haven't been a sub for ages.
I never even
because that was the only thing.
Yeah, I never even thought to think about that because I already had access. I had access multiple ways up until, like, I'm not at the 25,000 number, so I wouldn't be in wave 1.
Yeah, same.
Unless I was subbed.
Yeah.
or Evo. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, none of that is like NDA or anything. It's just a thing. Like we get some streamer privilege. We get to go into the PTU. It's the same with every video game in the world when people get access to patches. So
I guess it's the same thing where
yeah.
we get access to the ships for a little while, so
Yeah,
on and so forth.
exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, I would be a sub right now because I'd need to get into the PTU. But obviously that is not a common experience, I guess. But I still at least have the idea of like the only reason I would sub is for PTU.
Yes. I like the little goodies a lot of the time. Not a lot of the time. Some of them I really do like. So I originally subbed for that, and then they started doing a few years back, maybe like 3-4 years ago, getting into Wave 1 and stuff like that. So it was just like, okay, I'll just keep it on. But I didn't even realize about the content creator thing. That's funny because I just never had to pay attention to it. Well, now everyone's going to hate us even more. Good job, Croncy.
Good. It fuels me.
Does it? Do you like hate as a content creator?
It depends. I love hate about being a content creator. So if people are mad at me for being a content creator, love it.
That drives me nuts. That's the kind of hate that drives me insane. So like, what are some things people have said to you? Like said that you find funny or whatever?
Oh, well, like the streamer privilege that like people saying that, you know, you have like access to, actually no, I've got a specific example. There was a Discord with like a bunch of Australians and stuff, and there was a couple of Australian content creators on it. And someone was saying to me and a couple of other guys, hey, CIG have, it was like either CIG have banned me or they have like banned my posts or something around those lines. And they were like, in a very sort of condescending tone and condescending way, they were like, hey, you have contacts at CIG because you always get everything fixed and whatnot. How about you go get my thing unbanned? It's like, first off, my contact at CIG is like Jake and complaining about Valorant.
Yeah.
That's the extent of the relationship there. So that's always funny. It's also like, you know, every time it comes up about like watching the comments like against morphologists about like the A2 and stuff.
Oh god, that was great.
I find that funny in a bad way as well.
Yeah.
As in, like, I don't want Morph to have to deal with that. But it's just so absurd to me that people think of it that way that I just can't take it serious, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we're past that for his sake, thank God. But I've just continued to make a joke about it, you know, to morph that hate into comedy because it's so ridiculous, dude. Yeah, I mean, like the things for me is, you know, the page shill and all that stuff. It's just like, oh my god, dude, shut up. And then like it was happening all the time, and then they started mentioning me all the time on SCL as a joke. And now it's so bad. It is constant. So it's like I get comments of like, good job, Mike, you know, keeping us honest. And then you know, or good job, you're keeping them honest. And then it's like, if I say anything good, it's like, okay, you're the worst person ever. They're paying you. You know, you went to these events, and they start getting super weird and parasocial about it. Oh my god, it's just so ridiculous.
No, yeah, see, I love that stuff, especially because it'll be the situation where it's like you're either saying something. Yeah, if you're saying something good about the game, you're a shill. If you're saying something bad about the game, then you're a hater, and like you're only trying to make reactionary content or whatever. And so that stuff specifically, I just find hilarious, and I actually sometimes love watching. It's when they really get personal that it starts making me sad. It's when they're like, "Oi, you actually suck." That's when it starts getting to me.
Yeah, see, those are the like when they get personal. It's so easy to be like, wow, you're such a weirdo that it's just like, hide comment, ban, goodbye.
Yeah.
You know, and like those are the easy ones for me to deal with is when like sometimes, and like I read it, I listen to it because sometimes it's like true. Like, I think I don't know when we talked about this, if I maybe talked about it with Burks on the Desync podcast, but like this one guy, I reacted to one of his videos without his permission. You know, this was a while ago before I learned a little bit more of like, hey, I should ask some people's permission.
Yeah.
If I should watch their videos, react to it. Don't agree with anything the guy said. I mean, it was like one of the worst videos I've ever seen in my entire life. And
his name was Croncy.
Yeah. And he DMCA'd me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. You know, I thought that I was transformative enough. So I take it to the next level of like, we're going to court or you're dropping this. And then he makes a video called SaltEMike and just like made fun of me without like saying my name or whatever. So everybody knows who it was. And it was super funny. It was so funny. We watched it on stream and it was hilarious. But he pointed one thing out about me, like I was still wearing t-shirts from college. So he kept saying that, like, and I'm like 37 years old at this point. Okay. Like these shirts are old as fuck. So he points out that that I wear like thrift store t-shirts. I wear the same fucking shirt every day, all these things. And dude, I immediately went to the store and bought new clothes. Because I was like, this guy's an idiot. But I mean, true. You know, some of it was true.
He's dumb, but that fashion advice was on point.
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. I went right to the store. I was like, Emmy, we got to go to the mall. Because this guy made fun of my clothes. And you know what? He was right.
When are we getting our SaltEMike college t-shirt memes? We get some SaltEMike merch.
I still haven't made any merch, man. I gotta get.
You haven't made any merch? Even I've made merch. No one's bought any of it, but I love making merch.
I haven't made any.
Yeah, we need some merch. We'll get on it.
We'll get some Answer the Call merch. We'll get some. Yeah, we'll do some stuff. I've had plans to, but I've through my whole content creation career, I've always tried to be like one step at a time. And I can only like focus my energy on one thing at a time. So it was like, it started with my Discord, not even my Twitch stream. It started with the Discord. And I was like, okay, I think that's in a good place. It's in a fucking terrible place now. But then I went to my Twitch stream. Then I went to YouTube regular. Then I went to the React channel. And now I'm coming back to the YouTube again. And then maybe merch. So it's been like, yeah.
I did merch super early just because I wanted to wear a stupid shirt, and so I thought I'd make it. I made a merch when I had like 8 viewers.
I mean, I don't think it is a little bit because like who's gonna buy it? But like what
I bought it.
Yeah, you'll buy it, and then maybe like one or so other people. Like I've always wanted to make it for one specific reason for CitizenCon, because I had old merch from when I was Torque 17, and the like. A CitizenCon in the UK or in Germany, people were wearing my merch, and then they knew that they knew each other, but they didn't know who they were yet. And the t-shirt brought them together, and then they started hanging out. And I was like, that's cool. So it's not like I don't want to make merch for the money necessarily, but that was fucking cool. Was how I looked at that. I was like, yeah, that's sick.
It's a sense of community, right?
Yeah. And then they all hung out.
This is a very fun Star Citizen podcast.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about Starfield. This is the closest thing. The next thing we're going to talk about is Starfield. So I was like, damn,
true.
Where do we go with this? So Starfield better than Star Citizen?
Oh, 100%. It's crazy that Chris Roberts stopped development on Star Citizen a couple days ago. That's wild.
I mean, he might as well. Wild. He might as well just give up.
Yeah, no, right. No, of course, like not a thing remotely. And anyone who like sort of thought it was going to be a thing for a while, kind of ridiculous, because first off, multiple space games can exist. I know that sounds crazy, but that's a thing. But also, they're completely different games. It is what Skyrim is to World of Warcraft, right? Like,
yeah.
Unbelievably wild that happened. But I've been really enjoying it. I've been having a lot of fun with Starfield. I think it's a fantastic RPG. My 2 main gripes, though, and it's why I haven't sort of ranked it higher than like a 7 or 8 out of 10, is that the space flight is really boring. And
and almost
even though it is
non-existent.
yeah, and even though it is a Bethesda game, and I know Bethesda games have tons of loading screens, this one has way more. This is like mostly loading screen at some point, so that's very annoying. But other than that, it's been an absolute banger.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it with Burks yesterday. Is Starfield showed me a lot of like, damn, Star Citizen could be so much better if we had certain things, but it also showed me that Star Citizen is doing some things really, really well already.
Mm,
And like the flight, the seamless nature of it is actually pretty special and
yeah.
cool. And it's, I would not mind a few loading screens though in Star, like just
Yeah, a few,
watching
for
this,
sure.
like
Yeah.
the tile system with the planets,
Mm,
I'm all for. I am all for it. Like, I know we have vehicles, maybe, you know, you choose to drive a vehicle to the next tile, like after you get to it or whatever. But
mm,
if I think that is one of the things that has kept Star Citizen from finishing or being more polished or more playable today and in the course of its 10-year experience, that like watching how this worked, I was like, ooh, that's really smart. And I wish Chris had thought, or, you know, Chris and team had thought about that first, because I wonder what our
yeah.
experiences would be like now, right? Like jumping to a sector of the asteroid belt around Yella, maybe, or, you know, I don't know, that's a little small, but
Yeah.
a sector to of a moon or whatever, and you have a big play area, but you don't have to have the whole thing as your play area. Like, who wants to
Mm.
walk around a planet? Who wants to fly around a planet? You do it because you can, but you don't do it because you want to necessarily.
Or
And
need
that,
to.
or need
I think
to.
that's the big thing too, right? There's no
Yeah.
like I super appreciate like I would prefer they didn't do the Bethesda thing, because I do super appreciate that we can, you know, do that. But there's no mechanics in game, there's no features in game that really require that to be a thing. And if there ever is stuff that would require that, it's once again, it's so far down the line, right? Like it's probably exploration a while away from now. So I also think though it is a thing where it's like, well, they've already done it. So like moving to a tile system, I don't think would right now benefit the
No,
game at all.
not at all.
But yeah, like we would probably have more than one system if they did the Bethesda strat.
Yeah. And I think we would have a lot more gameplay. I think one of the most special things about Starfield, and it was like, wow, you know, like there's just a few things that I was like, damn, I wish we experienced what I'm experiencing now. That's really my only comparisons, like, to Star Citizen that I would want to make, is like when I
Mm.
land on a planet, bam, I land on it, and they placed content around me. And I
Yeah.
know that can't really happen in a multiplayer world. I know that's nowhere near the, like, it can't possibly be in the plans, right? It just doesn't make sense in what
Well,
Star Citizen will be.
well, it can happen because that's exactly how No Man's Sky plays.
Yeah,
But
but it's not
yeah,
this like we're gonna have outposts, and we're gonna have
yeah.
you know, like competing possibly over territory. You know, like we don't really know, but we can guess, and that system just wouldn't make sense. Like, okay, I fly down to this
Mm.
location. Well, that's where your outpost is, Croncy. Am I just not going to see it, or, you know, like, how does that work? So that's the one thing that it's like, we can't
Yeah.
have it, but it is very nice to land on the surface and just have content built around you. So you're never really like, look at this vast emptiness of Daymar. Looks really sick, but,
Mm.
you know, if you're not mining, what are you doing in those locations, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's been an enjoyable game. Looks like you've been enjoying it as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's certainly not game of the year. Still Baldur's Gate 3 game of the year for me.
Yeah, I gave it
But
an
they're doing well.
8.5 so far. And it was lower than
Yeah.
that until I started building my ship and an outpost.
Yeah, it is a terrible game for the first 6 hours. Well, not terrible, but like it's a much different game for the first 6 hours.
It's a slog,
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
Like I was just so much coming at you, and you got to figure out like how all these systems work, and I'm just like overwhelmed. And I was like, I don't know what to do or how to do anything. I made so many bad choices. Like my skill choices, terrible. Terrible. I went
not going all ballistics, all shotgun.
No, dude, I didn't even know that was an option. I went and chose. Oh, I need to choose 4 different things on the top level of each thing. So I am bad at everything right now. That is my character. Bad at everything. So it's perfect. I created myself, Michael Saltese, who is bad at everything in real life.
Yep.
And I'm just living out I'm RPing myself.
Love it. Absolutely fantastic. Wait, didn't you kill some people? We'll just put that under the rug. I saw someone compare the like first 6 hours of the last couple of Bethesda games, and Starfield just does not hook you initially like those other games do.
Mm-hmm.
The full intro thing of when you're going into the mine and then you get the artifact and whatnot is slow, it's boring, it's nothing cool. It's not like, when in Skyrim when, oh no, there's a dragon attacking, we got to get the hell out of here. Or it's not like Fallout 4 when it's like, the bombs are dropping now, we got to run, all this sort of stuff, right? So I think they've really failed on that part, which is a shame, because after that 6 hours, after that 10 hours, the game really opens up. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
I think the side quests are the best so far. The best part of the game for me. It's like you're just going around. I mean, you were watching me do one right now, which is, I don't know what this quest is. I'm not going to say anything about it. It was just something that apparently is special because people were like, did you do this quest yet? Did you do this quest yet? And I was like, they must know something. So I was like, fine, I'll do the quest. And now I'm going through it and I'm like, yo, this is cool. But yeah. So there's a lot of that. And like, even just random, like these are the things that I'm just itching and dying for in Star Citizen, is just a random story that you could tell that doesn't necessarily have to be involved with another player, right? It could have been you and an NPC's interaction. And like, I landed on some planet, I was scanning it, and there was some weird area there that we were checking out, and there was just dead people, and one guy was alive, and he was like, can you take me back to my ship? And and just like that little moment was just like, oh, it's so simple. You know what I mean? It's not, this isn't like crazy stuff that, and I was just, so people keep asking me like, what's it like to play a real game? I'm getting a lot of those comments. And it's like, I don't have to think. I don't have to talk about what could be better. We're just playing it and going, yeah, that was pretty cool. Like I'm not blown away. This isn't like the greatest game I've ever played in my life. Mass Effect, I thought, up to this point was a lot better. Just more special and more memorable and more iconic. But it's just fun, like in Star Citizen, you're just fighting the game a lot. And I don't feel like I'm fighting the game playing Starfield. So it's just been like this really enjoyable, relaxing experience. But that's it.
I think a lot of the problem about wanting some Starfield features in Star Citizen is they're all so RPG heavy in all of their elements, and Star Citizen just isn't, and very likely never will be, at least to that extent.
Yeah.
So like, we can talk about like, there's these events that happen when you get down on moons and planets and stuff. Star Citizen could do something like that, but I don't think it's ever going to feel as impactful as it does in games like Starfield.
Probably not. The only thing I would truly pull over is I go to an outpost, random things all over the place, collect them. Those things I can craft and turn into other things. And I know we're going to that direction in some way, shape, or form. We still have no clue what it's going to look like. We have our little bit of crafting in the game now. If I was going to pull over one single feature from the game, which is in literally every other game, it would be that. And that's like all of the items in the game matter.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm cooking. I'm working on my spacesuit. I'm working on my weapons. Like all of these things matter, and that is what I want from a Star Citizen experience. Because then you go down and you experience things. And somebody in chat says we do have stuff like that. What? I always ignore chat during the podcast. I cannot possibly ignore that statement because that was the single dumbest thing I've ever seen in any comment in anything I've ever seen ever. Because we are so that is the thing we are the furthest away from, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would bring from Starfield that I don't think would break Star Citizen and I don't think would be that crazy is honestly the weapons. I've been having so much fun with all of the weapons in Starfield.
Hell yeah.
Especially, there's a bunch of weapons that are like old human vintage shotgun. And it's just like it's like a shotgun from the 60s, right? I love that stuff. That's awesome. I would love to see a bit more of that in Star Citizen. I think aesthetically, Star Citizen's kind of stuck between like wanting to be very cyberpunky versus wanting to be like a little bit realistic, like the Expanse sort of thing. It'd just be nice to have a little bit more variation there. Starfield goes all over the place. You've got your super, super high-tech locations. You've got a place which you actually went past today, but you'll enjoy, I'm sure, called Cheyenne, which is literally space cowboys in like a space western. It's absolutely fantastic. Very Firefly-esque.
Okay.
And they have that nice range. I'd like to see a bit more of that in Star Citizen. Some of the lore, well, obviously a lot of the lore of Star Citizen is already written, but it'd be nice to have some bits like that in there.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's what I want to see is like we were talking yesterday with Burks about it a little bit, and it was somebody asked us a question like, what's one thing if there was one feature you would remove from Star Citizen, what would it be? And I kind of said subsumption. Like, I don't need the NPCs to be living like real lives or anything like that. I just like have a bunch of like random encounters that I can experience with a bunch of different storylines. Like we've had a writing team available for 10 years. So instead of writing random stories on the website, we could have been writing random encounters that we come across NPCs with. And then obviously that doesn't make sense because the NPCs don't work right now. But I'm just the things that I would pull over. And I would be okay with that. I know it wouldn't be as impactful, like you said. But I think it would be impactful to the player that experiences them, just maybe not the world around them.
Oh, for sure. Is it not the assumption, though, that the narrative team is mostly working on stories for Squadron, though?
Yes, or writing the mission logs for the PU or whatever. Sure. Of course. I mean, is it not the assumption that the entire studio outside of like 15 people are working on the PU? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the problem with that is the PU is the only thing we have to talk about because we don't know anything about Squadron.
Hopefully. Until October, maybe.
I think maybe we get a date, but that doesn't mean anything.
No.
Yeah, no. So we'll see. They got 2 days. I don't know what they're going to fill 2 days with. So
Fight or Flight, CitizenCon. That's
well, yeah. I mean, certainly it sounds like an entire day is going to be taken up by that because
I believe it's multiple hours on both days.
Okay,
is the idea. So it's split.
Yeah,
which is good because it means I get to do stuff that isn't just commentating. So that's nice.
Yeah, that would suck if that was the case because like you're going there to experience the event, you know?
Yeah.
Jake said it's simultaneous on separate stages. So in chat. So okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to check that
It'll
out.
be a lot of dev interviews because I mean that's one of the things that CitizenCon does a lot, right? Is dev interviews.
They better because we're not getting them in ISC. They better fill all those dev interviews that we're not getting on ISC right now at CitizenCon. That's all I got to say.
I mean, these have been a great couple of ISCs for me. I love sound design, probably more than I love general game design, but I am obviously not the majority there.
No, I did. No. I will say I thought this last episode was pretty good.
I still haven't seen it yet. I've been that busy. I'm gonna be having to watch that one tomorrow. The one from this
I
past
liked it.
Thursday.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I won't give anything away for you. I liked it. It was just like, okay, so there's basically there's some interesting implications. Like you make choices and you hear different sounds, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's all I'll leave it with. And it was like, all right, cool. They're thinking about cool things, and I like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really neat. I don't know. Outside of that, I'm trying to think. It's just been such a Starfield fight or flight kind of waiting on the PTU to move in a direction kind of week. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't have too much. I made a mistake though. Yet again. Croncy, I'm going to put this on you a little bit, not on you for this podcast. I'm going to put it on you. No. Hold on. I'm going to put it on you for the next one to remind me. In the intro, I got to remind people that this is still a call-in show. And if you guys are interested in discussing, any of the topics that we discussed today with myself and Croncy, there's a green room open in my Discord, discord.gg/SaltEMike. There's a little green circle. If you go into that room, we'll slot you in and bring you guys in and see if there's anything that you had to share on topics today. I don't think we're discussing anything too crazy. I'm not super comfortable bringing too many people on today because I'm worried about like Starfield spoiler or something weird with that.
Yep.
But yeah, outside
But
of,
if you want to come on and start complaining to us about how much
being a
streamer
content
privilege we
creator?
have,
Yeah.
do it, 100%.
filthy content creators. Oh my god, disgusting. All they are here to do is XYZ. I mean, I've seen that comment so many times. And it's just like, oh god, you're so dumb. Like,
It's just, I just love it. Man. I know we already went over this topic, but I just love it anytime someone starts complaining to me about streamer privilege. Because it's just, well, it does come from a little bit of an ego thing for me of like, I have streamer privilege. What are you going to do about it, punk? Get wrecked, idiot.
see, like, and I'm of like a totally different camp. I don't think we should have any privilege at all. Like, I hated apps. Like, no, I didn't get a key. But I am like adamantly against this of the like streamers getting the game before everyone else. And I know it's like an advertising tactic and so on and so forth. But like, we should all just play the game at the same time, and you're gonna get more viewers anyway because you're a streamer. Like, who cares? So I don't know.
I think that speaks more to, there's like a little bit of streaming that's like a little toxic, and I think it speaks a little bit more to that. Because in reality, if you get a code early and you get to play it early, really that's just a review code. And you're reviewing the game, you're playing the game, whatever, you're just showing it off. But there's a little bit of toxicity that's in every streamer, and I don't care who you are, it is in every streamer, where it's like, but I can get more views than this person.
Oh yeah.
And so I think it speaks a little bit more to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's I wouldn't even call it toxicity. It's just Twitch in general and the way it works. You have to be competitive. Like, you and I stream at the same time. If you end up getting more viewers than me, or I end up getting more viewers than you, like, there's no way that it doesn't feel bad to be below somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel bad, but
that I don't know if that situation works necessarily, just because like we're friends. We know each other, and that wouldn't make us feel bad. Like, if I'm sitting here and Mike's at 5,000 viewers and I'm at like 5, I'll be like, man, Mike's popping off. Nice. But like, if it's someone that I wasn't necessarily friendly with, then yeah.
See, I'm so competitive that I would feel good for you, but I would still feel bad for me. I would still be upset, but not upset that you beat me. I'd be happy for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, like I mean, I think I've been friendly with most of the creators in the space. Most, not the t-shirt guy, but most of the creators in the space. And like, so it's natural that like sometimes they'll be above you, sometimes you'll be above them, and it's like, I think like CitizenCon last year, like I was the top English speaking person that was watching, and I was like, damn, dude, that feels good. You know what I mean?
I will say, you invited me onto that, and I regretted it for like 2 months saying no.
Yeah.
Oh man, that hurt my soul. I didn't regret I didn't regret it because I had other plans, but I was kind of like, oh man, if only. If
Yeah.
only.
Yeah. I might be the only one streaming it this year. I have to talk to some people because yeah, I'm gonna probably be carrying 2 days by myself as of right now. I don't know who's not going, and who's not. I don't know who's not going to the event and who would be interested in, because I haven't asked anybody yet because I don't know what the schedule is.
Yeah. Where's Jake? Jake, you were in the chat. When's schedule?
I don't think he even knows yet. Probably they're probably still trying to iron things out. But like that for me is what I need to know to like figure out if I'm even covering anything.
Yeah.
So like if it's gonna be like this big spread out 30 minutes, 40 minutes in between each dev interview with like nothing, I might, but I don't want to. I can tell you that much, because that's a long day.
But what we definitely should do, regardless, though, is a call-in ATC from CitizenCon.
I'm down.
Right after one of the days, whichever one. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'm in. I know Burks is calling in. I'm gonna. Hopefully the internet there is good inside. Like maybe. I mean, maybe I can use some content creator privilege and see if we can get some of you guys on like their Wi-Fi or something. But I won't try. So I don't like asking, but you guys can. And then
I love asking.
Yeah, so good. You ask, because I'm too shy to. And we could see if we can get some decent internet for you guys, and then we can do some call-ins and stuff, and interview people and see how things go, because I would be hyped for that for sure. But I know conventions, or the internet inside of them, is usually pretty bad unless you're on a Wi-Fi signal or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, but that's sort of what I'd like to do, is like in between a big interview. Oh, what'd you guys think of it? Have people call in like we do normally with Answer the Call, and also call you guys and see what you thought of certain things. Because, dude, I think this is the first con that they're like really focusing on the like in-person stuff more than the overall like presentation to everybody. So I just don't know how this one's going to go.
Yeah. There's a lot of unknowns with this CitizenCon, but as I mentioned, I think last week when we talked about it, it has to be good for sure. Otherwise, anytime I get disappointed in Star Citizen, you know there's something wrong. And if this CitizenCon isn't good, I'm going to be disappointed, I'm sure. Especially because I just love events. I love going to events. So
well, what would make it good?
So just fun activities is one important thing, right? Like have some like arena commander that we can play, or demos, that sort of thing. Specific dev interviews with like meaningful content attached to it. You know what I mean? Like imagine we had a talk with Tony Z that wasn't theory crafting, as an example, right? That'd be amazing. That'd be fantastic. They could do all of that stuff and like not announce Squadron, and I'd be pretty happy. Yep. I don't think all of that stuff necessarily will happen, but I do think Squadron stuff will. So, it's going to be hard for them to mess it up.
For me, nothing at CitizenCon matters. It's what patch we get in December. If the things they show me at CitizenCon are in the patch in December, then it would have been a good CitizenCon. If the things that we show at CitizenCon are just the same worthless demos that we've seen for years, that, maybe they push them in a direction so they aren't worthless. That's what they've always communicated to us. Like, oh, it's all work that we use to get us to a certain place. I mean, there's a lot of things I see that, that's not the case. I could think of 1,000 things, that were added to those demos.
I would extend that timer and say probably within 6 months. So I think it's a bit quick to go like, all right, that's in this patch coming in 2 months. Like we would have already been testing it, all that sort of stuff.
Something needs to be in that patch though. Like some things, like not the entire thing. I hope, I didn't mean to communicate it that way, but like we're still waiting now for things from CitizenCon last year. I think what have we gotten? I think we got one thing, mantling, at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would argue that's unacceptable.
It's special cases. I will say in the 2019 CitizenCon, I didn't do the math, so this is a rough estimate because I just looked through features, but probably about 60% of the things at the 2019 CitizenCon that was in the like keynote presentation with the Carrick and stuff came out between 6 to 9 months afterwards.
Yeah, like all the actor status and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, as well as, you know, microtech, weather, the Carrick itself, blah, blah, blah. There was, of course, a bunch of stuff that didn't come out and still hasn't, but there was a large portion that came out.
Yeah.
And then we've been in a rough situation where the last 2 years have been super pyro focused, so of course they haven't come out.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Which is why, once again, I think that this year is super important, because if I mean, yeah, I'm actually kind of agreeing with you, I guess, is like, yeah, if the stuff from this year is still, like, there'll definitely still be pyro stuff, 100%, but if it's stuff that doesn't come out for a while, that would be rough, because we're now back to the old system.
Yeah. And, like, I'm okay. The big thing is, like, what you said, is, like, these really important pillar-ish, gameplay-ish features that we've just been waiting on, like the Tony Z, you know, stuff is like, even it doesn't have to be the whole system complete, but like, you know, show me that you care about an economy. All right, we know that you hired an economy guy, whatever that means. I thought Tony Z was the economy guy, so I don't really know what the hell's going on. But the
I think
idea,
they hired an economist, like an actual.
I hope whoever he is, I hope it results in something, because it's been such a nothing but, like, that is probably the most disappointing part of Star Citizen for me. Was we had I think it was 317, I'm not remembering which part of 317, but like the refueling patch, and they were like, refueling prices are going to change based off of these things, and I'm like, all right, bro, like, maybe it's not going to be a huge deal in this specific patch, but they're going to build on it. And then just like nothing happened, and it's like, how many times can I go through that anymore? And my patience is incredibly thin at this point for stuff like that. So I don't want to watch another CitizenCon with a giant bunker, a picture of a giant bunker, without knowing that I will be walking through that giant bunker soon. I don't want to go through another CitizenCon with a bunch of dots moving around on screen without knowing that they will impact my gameplay somewhat soon. And I certainly don't want to go through another CitizenCon with fake stealth gameplay. I do not want to go through another fake stealth mission.
Yeah. I think with the economy stuff in particular, the reason why it can be so frustrating that it's like not in the game is because it is probably the most integral part of an MMO that makes it feel like an MMO.
Yeah.
Like, server meshing is very important at least in this game, for us to be able to do MMO things, but we're not going to really feel that. It's just going to be like, oh, cool, I can travel to this other place now. It's not really a thing that we notice a lot. Whereas the economy is, everyone has to actively, deal with everything.
Yeah.
I do think them hiring an economist, if that is what they've done, because it does sound like that's what they've done, is actually a pretty good play. That's exactly what CCP Games did for EVE Online. Yep. They have a lead economist who's actually like, this is how real world economies work, and this is how we're going to make your game very boring in spreadsheets, and then everyone loves it. So that makes a lot of sense to me in a good way. With
well, do you want to dive into that a little bit? I wonder how many people would agree with you. I know I do.
You either absolutely love it or you absolutely hate it.
Yeah, and would they want to take it to that anywhere near that level? I don't think so.
I think very much like a lot of other Star Citizen mechanics, you dumb that down and it'll be pretty solid.
Yeah.
So you take the idea of real world economy, you make it so that you don't have to make your own, like you dumb it down enough that you don't have to make spreadsheets in order to get good profit. And that'll probably be good enough.
We'll still make spreadsheets anyway, but...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But you don't have to.
Yeah, it's not a requirement of the game.
No. The big thing for a Star Citizen economy for me is so funny because it has nothing to do with the value of things and what people are buying them for. It's the value of their, like, what, again, like, ooh, I just whacked the cat in the head by accident. One of the I guess, like, with the weapons and the suits and the helmets and the backpack or whatever in Starfield is like, all right, it is very RPG like I'm this level, so now I'm getting better level things that are dropping.
Yeah.
But the ability to play through the game and have a chance to find something that is improving upon what you already have has been one of the things from, and like, it's not really an economic thing, but it sort of can tie into that in the future of like crafting, these materials are really good and they craft these really good things and you can only find those in this system and these NPCs will typically be using them, right? Like, it all does kind of tie in together into an economy. And I just want that so bad.
Yeah, you want progression.
Yeah.
What's one thing in literally every MMO that exists? It's either a leveling system, a learning system, like a system of unlocks that you can get throughout, upgrades, a system of stuff that you can get throughout the course of the game.
Yep.
To improve yourself. And because there's been so much focus on Star Citizen not being an RPG, I actually think that's a big detriment to the game.
Same.
Yeah, because like theoretically, this is why we long for like really solid reputation systems or really solid crafting, because crafting is progression, right? You're earning new things, you're upgrading new things. Same with like people always talk about exploration is progression as well. There's something that Star Citizen is lacking, but not necessarily lacking the systems to do it. I think Reputation has already proven that it can be a really good way to solve that issue, except it only happened like once when we were able to do the Ninetales lockdown to get like a set of gear. Now imagine if that gear was decent and not just a skin, like actually had relevant in-game abilities, then that'd be a huge deal and people would work towards that.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be like reputation. Like, for me, something as simple as killing the SPK guard and using his armor and being somewhat as bullet spongy as him.
Yeah.
Maybe not to that extreme or whatever, but the fact that like he should be more bullet spongy because his armor is better. Like, that's the whole experience that you're looking at. Wow, he looks so much bigger than everybody else. Look at that. And then he's really hard to kill. Why? Well, probably because his armor is really good. And put that on, and there you go. Like, that is what I want in its simplicity. Like, even weapon attachments have been such a disappointment. Like, they have put them in and went, yeah, you got weapon attachments. They don't do too much. Like, sure, the suppressor does help at bunkers or compensate a little bit, and obviously like your laser pointers and stuff, but bigger magazines, really starting out with like a lot of recoil and then being able to reduce it by attaching a bunch of things to your guns. I think that's almost a definite.
I think that's almost a definite thing to get changed because it's been so long.
For sure.
Right?
But it's just it's on the list of 1,000 things that when will they change? Who knows?
Nope.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we're coming to the end. Is there anything that you would want to add, share? Anything on your mind?
Nah, mainly just like all that being said, like, we're talking a lot about, the future of Star Citizen, of course. The current Star Citizen's not doing too bad. I'm enjoying myself at the moment. It's been a while since I've enjoyed some Star Citizen. Probably since the first week of 319. I'm enjoying some Star Citizen again, which is very good. And I actually think Starfield may have something to do with that. Like, I've had a hankering to play the last couple days.
Interesting.
Just because, you start playing a space game, you get in the mood. You're like, I want to go fly somewhere, right?
Yeah. I'm definitely going to be playing some Star Citizen today. I'm going to be jumping in the PTU and doing some testing because there's some weird salvage issue that I want to try and help with. But I will say, as a a refresher or a return to a discussion that we had last week, those salvage missions have been fixed, quote unquote, where they're not 50 million credits at them anymore.
Okay.
There's a lot less, but there's still like a million.
Like it's still good?
Yeah, like it's still worth doing. The one thing that I don't like from what I've seen so far, and I do have a little bit of an understanding now that I've done them a bit more. I have low disk space, so I hope the stream is still doing okay, but I'm going to manage my storage real quick while we're here.
Uninstall Starfield. Ah, crap.
No, it's not even on the same computer, so I'm not really sure what this big file is. I'm assuming it's this, but anyway, they previously all the ships were really full. And they were really full with really, really good stuff. This time, they were pretty empty, but they had really good stuff in them. And it was a little bit more of a mix. So I would like to see still really full, but
with like garbage tier stuff.
Yes, like a mix, an appropriate mix of things would I think would be a win. And still the opportunity to just have like the God tier, like holy crap. And the more I've checked it, at least at Wake of Disaster, I've noticed that there's one ship that appears to be pretty full, and then the rest still have good stuff, but aren't as full.
Okay.
So I still have to do a lot more testing and figuring it out there, but yeah, it's awesome. So that's really exciting me for that. When it comes to that, somebody in chat goes, so Mike is rare and Croncy is epic. Yes. So like Croncy has a lot of purple. Yeah, I know we need a legendary person in. Croncy's got a little bit more purple, so we decided to take his colors and add them. Now that it's a 2-person podcast, oh no, don't change the colors on us. Next week we got to add the orange. We got to change it again. So yeah, we wanted to like have Croncy have his, I guess, stamp a little bit on it as well. So yeah, we like that. I surprised him with it today. And that was the person who made this Rigamix. It was his idea to change it up, and I like it. So even the planet below's got a little purple on it. And it
looks awesome.
Yeah, man. But I guess we'll leave it there. I mean, again, the most recent patch, some changes, nothing too crazy. And now we're just going to work through the PTU, and hopefully there'll be some cool stuff to talk about next week with you guys. I think there will be, and I'm excited for it. And I think that this was the best example of what Answer the Call can be. 320, still in Wave 1 and 2. Not a lot of people have the ability to discuss it. Starfield just came out. Most people are interested in that. And there wasn't a situation where we could talk with, get random people who aren't content creators to just come into a room in a Discord and talk about stuff. But we still had a show, and it was fun. I enjoyed the conversation. We talked about a bunch of different things. So that was the whole point about this. And thank you for saying yes, Croncy. This was awesome.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you got anything interesting coming up this week? When's your next stream?
At this stage, probably Tuesday. We'll be playing some more Starfield. Playing old man Croncy, who is a octogenarian who loves his shotgun and solves all of his issues with shotguns, and he's an old space hauler.
Nice.
I'm very much enjoying playing him.
Have you done trading?
Yeah,
Have you done cargo hauling yet?
No, I need more cargo money space? To make cargo space.
Yeah. I've just stole a ship that's like huge, but it has no cargo space on it. I thought it was gonna be filled with cargo, and now I'm like, what the hell? So before we go, my biggest disappointment with Starfield, we can't take ship parts off from ships that we stole and put them on on our ship.
Yes,
I hate that. Somebody's gonna mod that in.
I don't know why
sure.
That's not just in our inventory. Like, yeah.
Somebody will mod it in, I'm sure, and they'll do it. Oh, and you couldn't use the toilet. I found a ship that had a toilet on it. Couldn't flush it.
All right. Topic for next week.
Yeah.
Why Croncy hates the idea of toilet gameplay in Star Citizen.
Okay. Yeah. I hope it's not gameplay as well. So we're gonna have to agree on that subject. But all right, everybody, that's it. As always, hit the like button if you like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitch, make sure you hit the follow button here. Twitch.tv/SaltEMike. If you guys want to check it out live, Twitch.tv/Croncy, Croncy. Hit the follow button over there. Link will be in the description for that as well. I think one of the things I need to put on my list, and I'll write that down, is to put a proper command for you for during the stream to pump out the love there and the shout outs and stuff. So we'll shout out just in general because Twitch has that cool command now. And outside of that, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. I'm sure there'll be a little bit more Starfield talk, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of Star Citizen talk. So thank you again for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next week. Bye, everybody.
Remember to answer the call.
Oh, yeah. 2016. All right, so the recording died and stopped because I guess I recorded my entire Starfield stream from the first day that I played 12 hours, so I just ran out of space. Yeah. But I can just rip it from Twitch and upload it to YouTube that way, so that's what I'll do. But yeah, I was midway, I was okay, and I just ignored it because it stopped recording altogether, and then it was your computer has no space left, and I was oh shit, never mind. No, it's a 2 terabyte hard drive.
This is a request to chat during ATC. Send me clips of big Pog hype moments or funny moments.
Oh, are you gonna?
Yeah,
do,
I'm gonna start doing the shorts tomorrow because I finally have some time and not anything else to do. So start some shorts, start some TikToks.
Yeah. So he's gonna take the podcast and start making shorts and stuff from them. So yeah, if there was this SaltEMike thinks this, Croncy thinks that kind of stuff. So today, maybe not a ton of hot takes, but we will have a lot over the course of the next long while. I think sure.
Star Citizen should be a Sims game, not a sim game, a Sims game.
I mean, I'm with you. I wish it was more RPG-ish.
Yeah,
I really do. I really wish it had more of an RPG element to it. And I know a lot of people disagree, but it is what it is. Anyway, go get some rest. I'm going to head off, or maybe I finish that Starfield mission and then head off.
Yeah, go finish that mission and let me know how it goes. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I mean, everybody kept telling me to do it, so I must be really sick. So
yeah.
Okay.
I think no, I got spoiled, so I won't spoil you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finish AC6. I do have to also finish that as well.
Oh, true.
It's really good. So I loved that I played it for a few hours and it was awesome. I just wish I played more before Starfield came out, and I just didn't. But
you can always play it later in the year when it's a bit more of a drought.
Exactly. So not Arena Commander, DJ. But yeah. All right, Croncy, we'll let you go. Yep. Chat, thank you for watching as always. Guys. Get some rest, man. And yeah, thanks again, because we just wouldn't have had a show today.